A few weeks ago, I made a video on the topic of forgotten LEGO Star Wars sets, and you guys really enjoyed that video. I really enjoyed making that video, so here I am for a part 2. There's a lot of quote-unquote forgotten LEGO Star Wars sets that weren't able to make that video. One, because when I made it, I had a giant list of sets and I just wasn't able to fit all of them in that video. And also in the comments, you guys reminded me of a lot of sets that I had forgotten about and definitely could have been in the video. Anyways though, the first sets I want to talk about are part of a sub-theme that I think desperately needs to make a return, and that is the Star Wars minifigure pack sub-theme. There were only 4 of these released in the year 2000, and some of you guys might have never seen these before. One including Emperor Palpatine, Darth Maul, and Darth Vader. The second including Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Boba Fett. The third including Chewbacca and 2 Scout Troopers. And the fourth including a Battle Droid Commander and 2 Battle Droids. And the best part is they came with these little stands so you could display them. And the reason I say these drastically need to make a return is specifically just because of the topic of named characters being in battle packs. The community is really split on this. Half the people like named characters being in battle packs because it just means you can get them in a cheap set, and the other half of the community, which I resonate more with, says that battle packs are for army building and there should not be named characters in battle packs. And this is the reason myself and many others think these little minifigure packs should make a return. If we had little Jedi or Clone Trooper or Sith minifigure packs like this that included little stands for maybe $15-ish, they would sell like hotcakes. And it would also cater to people that want cheap and cool figures and leave battle packs for strictly army building. But unfortunately, it just seems like LEGO doesn't really care to do that. They only did that one time 24 years ago, and a lot of people have forgotten about these or don't even know they exist. Next up, I have a relatively newer set compared to the other ones on this list, and that's actually 75229 Death Star Escape from 2019. And 2019 definitely wasn't a standout year for LEGO Star Wars. There were some highlights like the AT-AP remake and then the UCS Star Destroyer, but a lot of the sets today just aren't super popular, especially this one, and I forget about this set all the time. The only time I'm reminded of it is when I'm just browsing Bricklink for a video and I see it in the year of 2019, and I'm like, oh, I completely forgot they made that. It's supposed to be a recreation of a very iconic scene, but LEGO didn't do the greatest job at it, and since its release, it's just been one of those sets that has gotten insanely overshadowed and forgotten about in the past 5 years. Anyways though, next up I have a battle pack, actually 2 battle packs that I think are very, very underrated and people have just forgotten about and never really cared about even. That being 75133 Rebel Alliance Battle Pack from 2016 and 75164 Rebel Trooper Battle Pack from 2017. And for some reason, most of the Rebel sets besides Starfighters just usually get overlooked. I've never really understood why, and Rebel Battle Packs are the ones that get it the worst. People have just never ever really cared about these, and because of that, they just get forgotten about pretty easily. And another reason I'm considering them to be forgotten is because they got insanely overshadowed by their counterparts. The counterpart for this one right here was the Galactic Empire Battle Pack with the Shock Trooper that everyone loves, and the counterpart for this one was the Death Trooper Battle Pack with the Death Troopers that everyone loves. And yes, those 2 Imperial Battle Packs are better for the most part, but people sleep on these 2 Rebel Battle Packs way too much. This one right here is my favorite of the 2 just because of the 2 aliens included, being the Rodian and then the Cad Bane alien. I don't know what they're called, but they look really cool, and we rarely ever get Star Wars alien figures like this, so people could have bought this and used these figures, or these heads I guess, in various different mocks and made various custom figures. And on top of that, the speeder is pretty cool too. And then you have this other one that actually has 2 builds and some pretty unique Rebel Troopers. We just rarely ever see army buildable Rebel Troopers like this, so it's always a joy to me when we're able to get them, but a lot of people just never cared about this set, especially since its counterpart was the Death Trooper Battle Pack. So again, for some reason, people just never really care about Rebel sets that aren't Starfighters, and the fact that these battle packs had pretty unfair counterparts just made it even worse. Continuing on the battle packs, next up I have the only Old Republic set that I would consider to be kind of forgotten about, and that's simply just because it gets overshadowed by the other 3, and that's 75001 Republic Troopers versus Sith Troopers. Now don't get me wrong, I know there's still some of you out there that love this set and haven't forgotten about it, but usually when people think of the Old Republic sub-theme of Star Wars, their mind's going everywhere but this set, which is valid. I mean, those 3 bigger sets are literally elite. They're some of the best sets we've ever gotten, and Darth Revan is one of the best minifigure polybags we've ever gotten. But hey guys, don't forget, we also have this little Republic Troopers versus Sith Troopers battle pack, and again, it's not even close to being the most popular Old Republic set, but I like the figures included in it a lot. Those Sith Troopers are awesome, especially the red one with the dark red and the gray. It's just a super detailed and menacing looking figure. I think LEGO did a great job on it. The Republic Troopers look good too, although they kind of resemble Clone Troopers just a little bit too much for me. I know that's not LEGO's doing, it's the source material's doing, but because of that, I think the Sith Troopers are a bit better. Either way though, this is a very underrated set with awesome minifigures, and a lot of people forgot about it because it was overshadowed by the bigger Old Republic sets. Next up, I have a set from arguably the most forgettable Star Wars movie, movie, and that's 75209 Han Solo's Land Speeder from 2018. Now, besides the TIE Fighter with the Mimban Trooper, really every Solo set is just stuck in the past and nobody really thinks about these things anymore. And I think Han Solo's Land Speeder and actually Moloch's Land Speeder are arguably the two most forgotten sets from that movie. And they're definitely not anything crazy, but I think Han Solo's Land Speeder is actually really cool. My favorite thing about it is that it's clearly supposed to look like a modded car, and I mean that was pretty evident in the movie with the entire first scene just being a chase scene that was very similar to a car chase, and I think that translated to this Lego set really well. It's just an awesome little car hot rod looking Star Wars speeder. But along with the movie, this set has just been lost to time. Now next up we have actually one of my most favorite sets of all time, and one that I think is super underrated, that being the first AT-AT Walker from 2008. This was basically the last old school 2000s episode 3 set that Lego released, and it was released in 2008 right before the entire first wave of Clone Wars sets came out, which just immediately overshadowed this set. A lot of people forgot about it at that time period, and then since then we've had two more AT-AT models come out that are both objectively way better. It's really like the odds were just constantly stacked up against this set, and because of that, it's one that I consider to be forgotten about, or at the very least underrated. Anyways though, lastly, you guys know I had to include a sequel set. I have 75140 Resistance Troop Transporter from 2016, and I'm actually confident this is a set that most of you guys have never seen before or just have not even thought twice about since its release, which makes total sense if you forgot about this thing because it was such a random ship for Lego to make. If you don't know what it is, it's the ship at the very end of episode 7 that Leia flies in on. I mean, it was barely shown in that one scene, and to this day, I kind of wonder why Lego decided to make this thing. I'm not saying it's bad in any way. I mean, I actually kind of like it because it's just a weird one-off background Star Wars ship, and we don't usually get ships like that as Lego sets. So like, I guess it's cool to just like throw in the background of your mock or something, but also at the same time, since it is a background ship from the very end of a movie that not a whole lot of people like, it's just gonna end up being pretty forgettable. You know, I just said that Resistance Transporter was the last set I was gonna talk about, but actually there's one more I want to talk about, and that's 4481 Hailfire Droid from 2003. And the reason I want to talk about this set real quick is because it's just so strange to me why people look over this so much. I know it's a Technic set, and Star Wars Technic sets were never very popular. However, at the same time, it's also kind of a UCS Hailfire droid. I mean, this thing's pretty big. I'm not sure if it's minifigure scale, but it's definitely closer to minifigure scale than all the other Hailfire droids, and it's also surprisingly very accurate for 2003. From the proportions to the angle of the wheels to the head and eye area, and then especially the rockets on top, they did a wonderful job on this set. But for some reason, this is just one of the more overlooked episode 2 sets, and also one that I think most people have probably forgotten about, and I don't understand why, because it looks awesome. Anyways though, that's gonna do it for this video. Let me know what you think about these sets down in the comments below. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see the screen right now.